This is Joe Knetter, the Hanukiller, and you're listening to Without Your Head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by the lead of Hanukkah and Megan, both out now, invading the man, the gravelly voice, modern-day horror icon, the Bill Murray enthusiast, four-time Without Your Head guest, and currently sporting purple hair, SADIE KATZ.
What an intro, and fourth time, that's true, right?
Yeah.
So can we say fourth time's a charm?
I think so. Fourth time's a charm. And now you've officially beat Victoria DeMar. Last time she came on, you were tied.
Oh, my God. Is she amazing or what?
Oh, yeah, she's awesome. And she was amazing in I know we're going to talk about, but Hanukkah. And she really put you over, too, that you're a true friend. And she said there's not a lot of, like, real friends in your business.
Oh, I love her so much. You know, what's so funny is, like, Victoria is someone a few times where, like, you know, they'll say we need an actress who's got real acting chops, who has a following, who's okay with doing nudity, but is a really strong actress. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, like, Victoria works and hustles, like, harder than almost anyone I know. Or she's in the top, like, 5 friends of mine that are actresses that I just know are constantly hustling. But she's great to recommend for something because when she shows up, they're like, oh my God. And if you watch Hanukkah, like she takes over the movie. She's so good. She's so good in it.
Yeah, because I didn't just, you know, not just to be nice to her or anything, but, you know, I think people overuse the term Scream Queen, but she definitely earned it just in that movie. Like, it was great. So had you seen her parts before you saw the premiere?
You know what? I had been there when she was shooting, and she was, you know, I mean, what she had to do, it was like her and Louise had a really crazy thing. Louise was like the goth girl, and, you know, so I had been there. I had been, like, basically tied up in the torture thing with my my hands in handcuffs and a ball gag. And Louise had already done her thing where they're, like, carving, spoiler alert, carving the flesh off of her. And she'd been lying like that for days. And then Victoria came to shoot her thing. And they did such a great job. You know, she's kind of reminded me, her performance when she was doing it was a lot like the chick from Silence of the Lambs.
No, okay, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, it was that kind of, like, really terror, wonderful. You know, she was 100% invested. When she came out and was, like, done with one of the takes and they were resetting the cameras, like, her whole body was shaking. She had tears just streaming down her face. Like, that girl can act. She goes 150%. So I knew it was going to be good when I saw it. And saw how they traced it through. I was really excited for her because I think she only shot 2 days. Maybe I think she shot 2 days, and they, you know, it ended up being such a great part for her, and she's just killed it.
And I liked how they did spread it throughout the movie because you keep going back to, like, worse and worse things happening to her.
Yeah, because, and, you know, that's like one of those situations as an actor that I think is really exciting because, you know, I've had that happen where you don't realize you get to be such a big part in a movie, and then you see it, and I think it's like a testament to the fact that she didn't, like, you know, go in there and do, like, a fake crying, that she had, like, a dynamic, you know, desperation that was really terrifying and lovely. So to me, that was, like, super exciting. And I kept calling her afterwards, and we had a couple of FaceTimes where I was like, dude, you're so rad. How cool is that? So that was exciting. And, you know, she's sexy and she's been in over, like, we met years ago on Zombies from Outer Space. Or something, or
I believe she said it was lesbian zombies.
Lesbian zombies, right. Yes, it was. We were lesbian zombies from outer space, and she was great then. But that's how we met. So, which is so hilarious, and we've been, like, friends since. But yeah, you're right about Scream Queen being overused. Even myself, sometimes I'm like, is it a defining part that makes you a Scream Queen, or the amount of horror that you've done. I don't know. I guess everybody has a different take on that. I don't know. What do you think?
See, now I purposely, not because I don't like you or think you're a great actress, because I do, but I didn't use it in your title because I don't really consider, even though you've been in horror movies, I don't really consider a scream queen, because I think that's usually more like the victim. And even though you're kind of a victim in this movie, I used icon, modern day icon instead. But I don't know. To me, it should be something other than just you're female in a horror movie, and that therefore you're a scream queen.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like when Wrong Turn came out, I'd only done one other horror film, House of Bad, which I loved. But then, and I'd done another thing that hadn't yet been released. That was a horror film. And then I did Wrong Turn, and everyone said, like, oh, Scream Queen SADIE KATZ is in Wrong Turn. And I'm like, I don't know if I actually deserve that compared to other people, but I'll use the hashtag, but if someone wants to argue with me about it, I'm like, yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. I'm like, I've actually played the antagonist more than the protagonist in film. So yeah, I do. I think of Scream Queen as like the girl that's running away and screaming. Like, I don't have a particular scream that's, I just am always scared anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, I think some people see it as like a negative term now too, because they want to use Final Girl instead. Because I guess it's more empowering. But I just see them as two different things, really.
Is that the deal with I thought the Final Girl? Yeah, I guess it's more empowering saying Final Girl. But gosh, I think I'm not that sensitive of a person. Like, as far as I'm always. Part of my language, I'm always like, I don't give a fuck. Like, whatever works for you is fine. But people do get really hung up. But, someone like Victoria, she's been, I think, in like 150 films or something. Yeah. And so I could see her being more protective of that.
Yeah. No, I think she definitely deserves it. So it's good. And she really was amazing in the movie. And it added a different level to the movie because I like that there's different things in the movie. There's like a lot of comedy too, because it reminds me of like movies I grew up watching in the 80s. That's what a lot of the slasher movies were then. They'd have like some really, dark stuff, but they'd also be lighthearted at some points. And so that added a lot of the actual terror to the movie, her scenes.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll tell you, this was one of my funnest films to shoot because I didn't really have I just had a lot of fun shit to do. Like I kept saying to Eben, who I think is really a genius, I kept saying, Rachel has no redeeming qualities. It's like, in the script, I said, don't you want me to find her humanity so we like her? And he goes, no. He's like, I don't want any of the kids to be like, it's so funny I played a kid, or a teen, which I'll probably never get a chance to do that again. But they certainly lit me well and did me, when I first got the part and I walked in, I was like looking at the script and I'm thinking, and Felissa Rose, actually, speaking of actresses that really help you out, Felissa Rose is the one who referred me to Eben, and I love her for that. So, and she's a super generous, sweet, amazing human and fabulous actress and sexy and a great friend of mine. But I read the script and I'm like, I'm with a group of friends. I said, I wonder how old, the friends are going to be. So I was really concerned. I thought, well, maybe they'll change the part. And then I got there and I meet Tolliver, the lovely man that I harass in the film and have a pretty funny sex scene with. And I meet Louise, I meet everybody, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are babies. This is, what are we going to do? And Evan's like, wait till you meet the makeup artist. I think it's under Get Dead Crew on Instagram. She was amazing. She airbrushed my face beyond all recognition, put the hair extensions in, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And Rachel was fun to play, and we only really did the gory stuff at the very end, which was a long night, but I mostly got to be kind of funny in this, which is really exciting to me. Or I tried to be funny. I hope I was funny.
Speaking of, the other cast, I actually sat next to Robert at the premiere in December.
Is he great?
Yeah, he was great. And this is the first thing I've seen him in, so I didn't know him. And he sat down and he was like, "I'm in the movie." And I was like, "Oh." And then I noticed he's like one of the big parts, and I'm thinking, "Oh no, I hope I like this movie because I'm gonna feel bad sitting next to him if I don't like it." But you know what I mean. But I dug it. But it was very cool to sit next to him during the movie.
He's the nicest. His wife's the nicest. He's really, really funny, and he's got this great look. And I must have smacked him in the face like.
Yeah, he brought that up. That you smacked. How many times did you smack me? I think that was the question that he submitted.
Yeah, I definitely, I must have smacked him like 50 times. And he was such a sport about it. And, he was like, just really smack me. And after a while, I'm going, I'm bruising your face. But there were two. So the first cut was a little heavier, but it was cut really quickly for Sid and everything. I think that's why, and they wanted to get a release where he could see it. And then they recut it. And that's when Robert's role really, they evened out the tone of the film and went ahead more, I think, for the comedy, which made it feel more like an 80s movie, which maybe was always Evan's intent. There's all these really heavy things. I mean, Sid does an amazing, he's really good in it. And Joe is so scary. He's just scary. It's so funny because he's like the biggest teddy bear ever. Yeah. He can be so scary. Yeah,
it's weird because I knew him from conventions for years, and for a long time I didn't go up and say hi to him because he's like a really big guy, and I thought, I don't know, he looks kind of intimidating. But no, when you actually meet him, he's a super nice guy.
Yeah,
but he has that presence about him.
He does, and so he was perfect. Like the part was perfect for him, and it's great too because Sarah's in the movie. So it's always cool when like a couple you like are both in the film, and Sarah French does a really fun job. And I had a lot of fun doing that film, and it was very unusual because I don't know if anyone brought this up, but it was all vegan catering.
Right.
It was a vegan set. I'm not vegan, but I appreciated the fact that they were making like literally one of the goriest movies.
Right. Right.
And they're all vegan.
We can't eat chicken eggs or
yeah. So, but that was fun. And, I don't know if anyone brought this up, but what's really funny is I'm giving away some things, but the movie's fun either way. Obviously, I am not the final girl in this movie. And for my death scene, I'm laying on a table and they were like, okay, we're going to have you do nudity, full nudity because that's what happens, sir. And I said, well, no. I said, I'll do it, but I'll wear like nude panties. And then I made a joke. I said, I'll do, topless, but nude panties. I go, you know what? You guys can CGI my vagina. Well, when I'm watching the big screen, I went, oh my God. I was kind of mad they didn't give Rachel a really nice vagina. It was like a fish head. But to see that on a jumbo screen, I was like, guys, that's not what it looks like. I promise. But I was laughing so much when I saw Evan because I was like, you son of a bitch. And he just started laughing. He goes, hey, you said we could CGI it. I go, well, I did. I did say that. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I've known Eben for a long time. I've been friends with him for a long time. He's just been vegan, like, I think the last couple of years. But he's a lot friendlier since he became vegan, I'll say that. He used to be a very angry guy. But why was he so angry? I don't know. He just always looked like an angry man. I'm not sure. He doesn't seem like he liked people, but he seems to smile a lot more. I just saw him in Charlotte in February, and he was a much happier man than he used to be.
Well, I think his wife, didn't he become vegan with his wife? And his wife's lovely.
Yeah, she's
really cool. So maybe there's a little bit of his happy. It is funny, though, because I kept asking him, I was like, hey, are we going to do a rap party Like, you know, are we going to all go out? And he's like, I don't really like people that much. I'm like,
right. That's very evident. Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean you don't like? I go, you're not going to come to the wrap party, or let's go get a drink afterwards, coffee, whatever. And he's like, no, I'm serious. I don't really like people that much. And it was serious. He's got this, he's really funny. He's got a really great sense of humor.
Yeah,
and
very dry sense of humor. But if he does like you, he's a very loyal guy.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great time working with him. I would work with him on anything. He was super fun on the set. That's why I was like, hey, aren't we going to like hang out? We all new friends? And he's like, no, we're not. She goes, but I'll work with you again. Okay. Yeah.
That's it. Now I think I've known him for years, and I've actually never had any kind of. I never had dinner with him or lunch with him. Now that I think about it, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think he likes to work, and then he does the conventions. But like, he's, you know, it's funny when you meet someone, you're like, wow, they're super social, he's so outgoing, and he's like, I'm not outgoing. You have me totally wrong. I'm just your director. I'm like, oh, okay,
right.
Yeah. He's awesome, though. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's great. And James Balsamo's the opposite. He's not awesome. No, I mean, he's awesome, too. But he's very much very big personality and will take pictures and go out with everybody. And
super teddy bear. Super, like, just nice. I mean, that was the one thing with that film is everybody was in really high spirits. And, like, it was just a really fun set to be on. Like, it was great. There was a lot of like people wanting the film to be really good and excitement about who the names he got to be in the film, and so I feel like it was a real like special gift that I got to be part of it. And I'm on VHS, which is really crazy.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's very cool. I saw is at Mad Monster in February. Our table was between James Balsamo and Chris Ott. So. And one side I heard a lot of really bad puns, and then the other side, they played the trailer for Hanukkah over and over. So I was getting it from both sides, but it was very cool. And they had the VHS because the DVD hadn't come out quite yet. But I was like, that's pretty cool.
Were people excited about it?
Yeah, people were very excited about it. Someone even had a tattoo. I don't know if it was at that convention or not, but I saw it on Facebook. Someone had a Hanukkah tattoo.
I know. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
So I'll be curious when it goes to streaming how it does. I wish we had more reviews on Amazon, but I think once it goes to streaming, especially now since everyone's kind of, I like to call it hibernating, but I guess we're being quarantined. But
hibernating sounds nicer, especially when you bring up teddy bears. It's a teddy bear.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Right. They do say that horror films are good for people with anxiety.
That's interesting. Why do you think that is?
I think that I read this article that really surprised me that said people with anxiety are drawn towards, or depression, towards horror films. And they said, so remember where I read it, that it had to do with the fact that, like, that same thing of, like, you know, the fight or flight, like, they get a sense of accomplishment that they're okay by getting, like, it's like that micro exposure to something, you know, like if you're afraid of spiders, but you keep being around spiders a little bit, you kind of get okay with it. Maybe it's that. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it makes sense because until recently when I got healthier, I mean, I always had a lot of dealings with depression, and I've always been a big horror movie fan. So that could be, definitely makes sense. I always thought, like,
congratulations, by the way, on that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's I feel not only physically do I feel better, but it really helped mentally. The mental well-being is a lot better. But yeah, everything's better.
How long did it take? I mean, I was watching your progress. I'm like, wow, great. How long did it take? You've lost 100 pounds?
I lost 145 pounds now. I lost the first 100 pounds in like 6 months, and then it's a little slower after that. Yeah, I actually was I purposely but I was very happy I lost the 100, obviously. But they first had wanted me to do surgery, which when I looked into, I didn't really want to do. There's a lot of things about it that I like to eat and cook and everything, and you can't necessarily eat a lot of food if you have weight loss surgery. So instead, I was like, I'm going to change my diet and walk and stay active and all these things. And because he's like, well, you know, in 6 months, you can lose 100 pounds if you get the surgery. And so I was, to be able to do that without the surgery was very special to me.
Yeah. I mean, not that I would ever put anyone down for getting the surgery.
I wouldn't either, because it helps, you know, a lot of people, that's the only way they, you know, it's going to save their life.
Right. But I do think that there's a lot of stuff afterwards, like your skin doesn't have time to process it. And I know someone who had the surgery and then they stretched their stomach back out and regained it back, even with the surgery. That
is actually a pretty common thing when I looked into it, that a lot of people gain the weight back after like 2 years. There was a lot of things that I do think they, because it used to be when you would get the surgery, because I study a lot about this, like you had to go to counseling for like months to make sure you are right to do it. But it seems like it's something they really push a lot more on people, even people that aren't necessarily like, because it used to be you'd have to be like, well, you couldn't walk or you were physically dying, you know, to get the surgery. But now it's kind of like just people that, you know, are overweight, but not necessarily, you know, needing that drastic of a measure. Yeah.
I mean, it is funny because whenever I do, like, I have to lose a little bit of weight for a project or something, right away I'm like, okay, no carbs, basically keto, and it works. You know, I mean, were you doing that mostly?
Yeah, so I kind of made my own diet, but no carbs. Well, no vegetable-based carbs. I still eat like sweet potatoes and broccoli and stuff, which actually, and beans, which actually are I think people sometimes think all carbs are the same, but they're not. Slow-acting carbs will give you energy throughout the day and keep you feeling full, where a fast-acting carb like breads and pasta will turn to sugar, and that's why they're bad for you. But the keto is like really heavy in fats, which I don't want to do that. So I eat a lot of vegetables. I started weighing my protein. And so honestly, I probably eat like more quantity than I ever did, but it's better stuff. So like you're never hungry or anything. You just eat better food.
Wow, good for you. It's weird because it's like, I just think a lot of people didn't really know. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and like, I don't think like, my mom, I was a vegetarian for a little while, but I ate chicken and fish, or not chicken. Sorry, I ate eggs and fish. But I don't think as a kid, like we were really educated on what was healthy. No, like I ate macaroni and cheese almost every day, and like these 25-cent bean and cheese burritos. That
I used to eat those too. Yeah, they had like the spicy bean and beef ones.
Yeah,
I remember those. Yeah, they were very good.
They were so good. And like my mom would buy like Sunny Delight. Like
I used to drink. Yeah, exactly. I would drink tons of fruit juice, thinking this is good for you.
Yeah, like the Sunny Delight, which has no nutritional value really, and yeah, and like my mom would buy maybe a bag of carrots or like celery sometimes, and that would be like me thinking I was eating something healthy. So it's a different time. I guess one of the pluses of the internet is having access to so much.
Oh yeah, because I talked to a nutritionist only for about like 10 minutes, just for some basic stuff, and then the rest of it I just run research myself, and you can find a lot of good information, you know, on the internet. So.
Right.
The one thing they did tell me that I always remember was they're like, if you eat like bacon cheeseburgers and pizza and all this stuff every meal, and then like on, you know, Wednesday you eat a salad, that's not going to make you healthy. But if you take that idea in reverse, if you eat fairly healthy all week and then, you know, on Friday you decide to have some pizza or something, it's not going to have an adverse effect on you. So, you know, you don't have to give up everything. You have a cheat meal once a week or maybe twice a week. And if you're eating well and staying active besides that, it's not going to really have any effect on you.
Right. Right. Well, congratulations, because
Thank you.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, because you said earlier about like you did like one horror movie, then you did another one. Like, did you seek out to do horror movies, or how did you find yourself doing horror movies?
I feel like it's kind of this great thing that I'm really grateful for is I was doing other indie films, like I did Chavez with like Danny Trejo and Stephen Bauer and Hector Echeverria and a lot of other great actors. That was like a fight movie, and I played the wife of the cage fighter. I was the lead female in that. And then I did Nipples and Palm Trees, which was like a super fun, sexy comedy that we're actually doing in Nipples and Palm Trees too. Really? Dylan Reynolds, who did 420 Massacre, is the director of that. So I did those, and then when I did House of Bad, that kind of like caught on and got some really good reviews and won some festivals and got good press. And then somehow, I realized like, oh, horror films are pretty good for me because they push me in lots of ways. So I started like then kind of auditioning for more horror films. And then I think the fans are like super loyal. So, it's nice because you get to build up a name. And I always thought it would be like, that would be, most actors start off doing a horror film. Everyone from like Johnny Depp to, Jennifer Lawrence to, Jamie Lee Curtis, like they all did that and then did other kind of films. But there's something about horror films that's also great too, for they're willing to cast people without names in their leads, so you get to like carry a film, which is, really for me, I came from theater, so like getting to do that and play a whole character that has like a real life is great. Also horror, I think, has so many different genres within the horror genre.
Yeah.
So it's like you get to do horror comedy, or you can do something that's totally, horrific and scary, or, I think long term really obviously did a lot for me, because then that led to Blood Thief with Marcel Waltz, and then, Bus Party to Hell, with Rolf Koninsky and the Mahal brothers producing it. So it kind of like I got to be as crazy as I wanted to be, which is
right.
Cool. Yeah. Which for me is really cool. When I'm on camera, I'm like, how much can I like work my inner demons here?
Mm-hmm. And you also have Megan out right now, which due to everything, was put out on Vimeo. Do you know how that's like doing for itself?
I don't know. I do know that the director, Silvio Nacucchi, is in Italy, and we were in the middle of trying to get distribution for it, and we had a lot of offers, and it was going back and forth with different people, and, there was people were really excited about the film who saw it, distributors. But I think because of the situation in Italy, Silvio really decided to just release it. It's so bad, and he's older. So I think his idea was just to do like a soft release. And I will say I asked people to share it on Facebook, and sometimes you're just really surprised how many people actually do it. I think I got like 50 shares, and people said they watched it. So I hope that it gets more distribution and gets a chance to really be seen, because I worked my ass off on the film, and I think it's the cinematography is really good, and it's a really fun, kind of scary. I'm not a nice person in it. It's like Misery meets Hard Candy, and Randy Wayne is the victim, I would say. And there's a really lovely, fun twist at the end that is, it's a thriller, so it's a psychological thriller, so you're trying to see like what the hell is going on, and I think it's done really well. But I won't give it away. But
all right, I'm really, I really want to see it. I know you were really proud of it when I talked to you in December when I met you in LA, and you were really proud of the movie.
Yeah, it's so excited. So I have to say, it was like one of those situations with Vimeo where you go, well, how do people, it's very hard to find a movie on Vimeo without being directed, like, hey, go here. Right. So I was really bummed out, but I mean, it's one of those things where like right now, everybody's kind of adjusting. And so I do hope it gets seen on larger platforms, which I'm assuming, when things settle down a little bit, that will happen, or maybe Sylvia is working on that now. It's kind of hard to call, by a director when they're going through what they are in Italy.
Right,
what
yeah.
doing with our film? Yeah.
yeah. I'll laugh at that, but definitely, of course.
Yeah.
So, how has that affected just life as being an actor and filmmaker? Because I assume nothing's really being shot right now.
Yeah, I do know some people were wrapping up shoots, and I did get somebody who had reached out to me, another actor that I love, and said, "Hey, I recommended you for a part that's supposed to shoot in April," which I would love. But I think right now we're all kind of going are we going to be in lockdown for 2 weeks, or is it going to be longer? It sounds to me like it's going to be longer. So I'm just concentrating on. I'm kind of just now getting settled down where I'm concentrating on writing. I'm working with another actress on writing a really funny script and comedy, like a romantic comedy. And I'm also finishing up another script I've been working on. So if I could get out of the fear part of my head, or the part where I'm constantly checking the news, then I'm like, okay, this is a great time to sit down and finish writing those things that you want to write. It's we're all in our own writer's retreat or artist retreat to do the things that we need to do. It's keeping your head straight and not letting that, the unknown of this is really weird. It's like we're all in our own movie of how we're surviving it. Even though right now nothing's, I don't even know anyone who's sick. I know. I don't know anyone in my immediate, here where I live. I do know, I guess, one person on that I know, through Facebook. I met the person too. I don't want to say their name because they're keeping a secret, but I know one person, but that, that's about it. But, also there's not a lot of tests. So, people don't know if they've had it either. Yeah, I mean, Miles and I, my fiance Miles and I, went to Disneyland the day before it closed. Yeah, because we were taking it serious, but it was also raining, and I was like, well, we'll probably be okay. It seemed like an overreaction. I think everybody had different phases of how they accepted it, and then by the end of the day at Disneyland, we had been being updated all day as we were walking on the rides that had 5-minute wait times. And we were both it was dawning on both of us while we were at the happiest place on earth that Disneyland may not open again for a really long time, and we're going to have to hunker down. And it was that realization was so weird having that at Disneyland. Yeah. When it was the fireworks, they do this huge thing on Main Street where they've got all the music playing and dancing, and everyone's watching the fireworks, and it's a really cool light show. And everyone was dancing together and you could tell, people were also conscious of not being in each other's space either. People were definitely, but it seemed like everyone knew things are really changing right now. Yeah, I went to the movies pretty much a day before they closed them, and it was the same, smaller scale, but same thing. Everyone, no one sat even near each other. Everyone kind of moved around, so it was spaced out. It was a weird experience, and it was fun while I watched the movie. I went and saw the Fathom events of the original King Kong. It's one of my favorites, and that was fun to see. Oh, great! But after, I thought, this might be the last movie I see, in a theater for a long time. Right. Did you hear that drive-in theaters are still open, and they're open in LA? That's interesting. I used to go a lot when I was a kid, but I don't know if there's any around anymore where I am. I know. I guess they are. There's a list online of the drive-in movie theaters that are open, and I don't know how long we're going to be actually in California allowed to be outside of our house that much. Yeah. So I think we're just kind of waiting to see how many people are actually going to be sick when we get tested, and whether or not I feel fine, but I'm wondering if like maybe I do have the virus, but I'm not showing any symptoms. It's so weird. It really does feel like the apocalypse.
Yeah, because Idris Elba, he's like it was tested and has it, but he says he has no symptoms of it. So I mean, it's really weird. It's just I've never lived through anything like this. It's a very bizarre situation.
I know. I think it's just the unknown of the not knowing. It's like, I mean, even if you compare it to like 9/11, we knew the enemy.
Right.
It was really scary, but like we kind of knew somewhat. And now you're like, okay, is it coming? Is today the day everyone gets really sick? So that's a really weird experience. Now, I think maybe at the end we'll all end up a little bit closer from it because like we're all experiencing it together throughout the world. So it's definitely a life-changing event.
Yeah. So, I do see a lot of people, like you mentioned, get back to writing. A lot of people I know, online saying that, they're going to start their YouTube channel or, like you said, write a novel or doing something, that they always want to do. So that's kind of a positive thing, too. People actually trying to pursue something that they've wanted to do now that they have the time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, this morning I was like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to do yoga because I normally would go to a studio, but I'm going to do it online and trying to adjust to like, okay, I'm going to get into a routine, whatever that's going to be here. But it is kind of like, I picked up and did like a like a cross stitch thing and something I wouldn't normally do. And maybe there will be like some benefits you hear about in the Italian canals and the Italy canals. The dolphins are coming back. And,
really? That's pretty wild.
And fish, because they don't have the boats going anymore and the water's clear. So I think it will be very interesting that at the end of everything, how we come out on the other side.
When I went for the walk the other day,
very good ending.
Yes, exactly. Happy. This one we want a happy. Even though we're horror movie fans, we want a happy ending on this one. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. But I feel in a way that some of the panic that we're going through is because we've had so many of these zombie movies, and we all have like in our mind how this plays out, and so we all have this thing of like, is this it? Is this the apocalypse? Are we done? Are we going to be on the street? And that's one of the reasons I was like, I'm going to dye my hair blue. I've always wanted to dye my hair blue.
Oh, blue. I wasn't sure if it was blue or purple. So
it's purple, but now it's blue because it's washing out. So it's like a purplish blue. Yeah. So, but I also felt like, well, damn it, if this is like something really crazy, I'm not walking around like some blonde who's like this helpless blonde. I'm going to give myself some like badass.
Yeah, I like
apocalypse hair.
Like
I'm out.
Yeah. It could even been a mohawk, but that's probably a little harder to grow out. I think my fiance was like, "Oh God, she's really losing it. She's losing it." Yeah. So now he's sequestered with some chick that's totally different with blue hair or purple hair, and so yeah, I was hoping that my hair would be this color for 14 days. I'd watch it slowly wash out, and then by the time it was all gone, we would be released again, and I would be like, "Oh, that was another girl who went through that." I like that. Yeah, it was the other night when it wasn't even very late. It was like 8:00. And I was walking and nothing was open. There wasn't a soul around. I didn't even see any cars out. It did really feel like this post-apocalyptic movie. I was just like, this is just strange. Like if I'm out at 3 a.m. around here, that's how it would be, but not at like 8:00 in the evening.
Oh yeah. We're in Silver Lake and it's like, there's people going on walks, but like we're kind of crossing the other side of the street and saying hi. I love the idea that people are putting up Christmas lights. So I'm like, we should put up Christmas lights. Have you heard about this?
No.
That people are hanging up Christmas lights to kind of give cheer and say that, to bring light and fun to people during like a dark time. I don't know. I haven't seen it too much. I thought that one house I'd put up had kind of turned on their lights in the area. So, I mean, there's kind of fun ways to have some kind of unity. I mean, I do think that that's the one thing about Facebook. As much as it can be scary, it's also there's people like that you're getting to connect to that if we didn't have it, we wouldn't normally be connected in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can be guilty of focus. You know, there'll be like 99% of the people be very positive to me, and then one person will be really nasty and be, oh, you're a narcissist, blah, blah. And then it's hard not to focus on that one nasty comment sometimes, which I know you shouldn't, but it's hard not to.
You just got to delete them. Like, I get really weird. I get a lot of, I would say every other day, I get someone who writes something kind of DMs me, and it's something weird, rude, over sexual, and it used to really bother me. And then I thought, well, you know, this is part of the job, the thing that you're signed up for. You're exposing yourself in this way. And so I just immediately block, cancel, done. It's over.
Yeah.
And like, I hate to say this, but parts of social media feel a little bit like a video game to me, right. You know? And so I try to not take it too seriously. Even when you say to someone, like, you know, I'll meet someone and I'll be like, well, you know, my social media isn't exactly me. That's like the best parts of me. Right. So, you know, the people that you actually meet in real life that you actually know, I'm like, okay, these are people that I'm paying a little more attention to. But, you know, I appreciate talking to everyone. There's some people that I have on my Facebook that I was like basically friends with doing MySpace when I first started getting acting roles, and they kind of followed me, and so I do feel like I know them very well. You know, people, I'm like, well, I communicate with this person every day for the last decade, which is kind of wonderful and great. Yeah. And, you know, I also see their kids like grow up because they're part of my, you know, scroll. So we live in such a weird, like, connected world, but also not connected, because people think they could say whatever they want online, you know? Yeah. Which I always just say, just block them, move on.
Yeah.
It's hard though.
It is. Yeah, it is. If it's someone you like actually have known for a while, it's weird that they. But I have noticed that there are a lot of people who they're miserable if you start to do well, which is a very strange thing to me. But
yes, I just read this. So I just read this meme that said a lot of people want you to do well as long as you're not doing better than them.
Right.
And there is a group of people that I do believe, like, I'll notice something happens. Sometimes I'll have a film come out, my numbers will drop on you know, followers on Instagram or something. Right. And it's like, I think it's hard for some people, or they're like, oh God, here she goes again with another film, or you know, enough already. And then they'll go back up and go higher for people who really like it. And I do think that it's, you know, when you go on a vacation, it's very funny because you'll notice sometimes, like, you're taking a picture of like this amazing sunset. It's gorgeous. It gets like 40 likes. I take a picture in my house of like meeting, you know, a narcissist taking a selfie, and, you know, gets like 400 likes. And that's the thing about the internet. It's very strange what people choose to like and don't, and you know, what they share. And a lot of times I'll think, well, maybe no one's seeing this, and then I'll see people and they'll go, oh yeah, I saw you doing this, congratulations. And I'm like, oh, that's funny, because I didn't even know that person watched my page, because they never come up, they never like anything. I just think, fuck it.
That's good advice. I think it's good advice here.
Right.
Yeah. So I saw you also wrote or co-wrote Clown Fear, which is out now, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
So that's very cool. Who's Min Collins that you did the movie with and directed it? Did you know them before the movie? Yeah,
I knew Min for about, I don't know, 15 years, and he had said that he had done some directing, and I knew that he had done some directing, and we were really good friends. And he kind of said that he had a kind of reverse pickup with Lionsgate, that if we wrote something in 30 days, we'd get it picked up. And so we wrote it, and I'll just say sometimes you don't want to work with like people that you've known for a long time. But I did have one thing that was really positive of the experience is I got to work with Augie Duke, and I got to write something specifically for her, and Tiffany Brookfast and Nikki Chris were like my little girl squad. And the movie was a lot of fun. It had a lot of production problems while we were filming it. Just like from financing falling out and just different things. So I'm glad that it got released. There's parts of the film I really like, and parts of it that I wished were different. But I still think it's a pretty fun clown movie. I mean, it's a definite B film. You know, the difference of that film and Megan is like, I wouldn't call Megan a B movie. I call it a thriller. It's done really well. And Clown Fear, it's fun. I mean, the set pieces are really lovely. Sarah French is in it. She does a really fun job. I mean, it was supposed to be very cheeky and silly. And, you know, so I'm very grateful that it got picked up by Lionsgate and got a release. And Randy Wayne is also in it, which is how I met him and ended up referring him to do Megan. So he plays the hunky tow truck driver, and he does a great job. And it's a fun film. It's like sometimes you love films and they're exactly how you wanted them to come out, and other films you go, well, some parts of that I really love. You know. Yeah. But I do. I think, you know, if you're a horror fan, it's fun to watch the gamut of them. And if you're a fan of clown movies, there's some fun stuff going on. There's something there for you know.
I think horror's a weird genre in that regard, where like I don't think someone like will have fun watching like what they think is not a great like comedy, but if you watch a horror movie that maybe is not the best, but it's fun, you know, like you'll still enjoy it. I don't think any other genre is that way.
No, you're so right. And I mean, a lot of times it's like you do a film and you're like, a lot of horror people in the horror industry understand this, that you do the film in 12 days or 14 days or, you know, and so you're like, look, this is, you know, an act of love. It's different. And, you know, everyone's given the best they can in the limited amount of time. And I think that's kind of fun to watch. I mean, there's some films you're trying to figure out, like, how long did they have? What was the budget? And, you know, just finishing a film is such a feat. But you're right. A comedy that's not good is just a comedy that's not good. And you're like, why am I watching this?
Yeah, or drama or whatever.
Worse. You're just like, oh, my God. Like, you know, this is not worthy. But horror is fun because, you know, no matter what, you're having fun with the kills. There's lots of stuff going on. One thing that I do think works is that there's a lot of little unique things that happen in the movie, and there's some fun scenes. There's a big clown carnival at the end with Marv. He plays our lead clown bad guy, and you know, there's always like some cheeky things that I think horror films too, they also leave there's a lot to talk about in them. Even if sometimes people love to hate, like there's a lot of YouTube channels that are just devoted to saying how much they hated a film, how bad it was.
Right.
But I always say thanks for watching the film. I'm glad I'm glad you're watching it and talking about it, because then other people get to have that same debate. You know, it's a fun genre because of that. We're all kind of part of the conversation.
When he's talking about the hate, it seems to me there's on the internet, like not everyone, but there's a majority of people, like if you don't like something, it's always the absolute worst thing that's ever been made and you wasted your life. It's never like, oh, I just didn't like it that much or it wasn't that good. It's the worst thing that could ever possibly been made. There's no degrees of not liking it.
Yeah, I do think, but I think that's kind of like, even if you ever do a reality show, they'll always say you have to either love something or hate it. There's no in between. Right. So I think that's where we get like kind of, there's no real medium. It's like people say, please give me back the 83 minutes I wasted on this. I hate it. And you're like, really? You feel that strongly?
Yeah.
But those are kind of those are fun reviews to actually listen to. Like those are, I listened to one review that on Clown Fear that I actually really enjoyed and I agreed with, and he had some good things to say, and then he had some other things that he felt very strongly about. But the review itself was really entertaining and fun. Right. Yeah. So, like,
I guess it would be very entertaining if a guy just went like, meh. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is funny because we live in a time where it's like people are canceled. This person, like, you either love Meghan Markle or you hate her. There's no in between. Like there's the internet and, especially Twitter has really decided that like everyone's either going to pile on someone or not. And you kind of notice, I'll notice on Facebook, like, there's some people that only post certain things. And I'm like, they mostly post a lot of, negative stuff. And I'm kind of like, I like to weigh both sides of things. I like discussions. I like, sometimes I like to be like, I'm not feeling that great today. Today is not, you're kind of the same way. Today is not my favorite day. But tomorrow is a great day, or, I think that's the thing that the internet needs to work on is that. But for entertainment, of course, you either love it or you
right. Yeah. Yeah. I did my, I would say real quick, I did my first feature film in December, which I'm very excited about. And the director, he told me everyone's either going to think this is the character I played is the greatest character in the movie, and why is it there more of him? Or are they going to say, why the hell is this character in the movie and he ruined the film? He said that there won't be any in between. So I am both nervous and excited to.
Well, what do you play? What's your character? What's the
Backwoods Bob. And I can't say the name of the film, but it's like a weird, perverted hillbilly character out in the woods, which I had a lot of fun.
Oh, I love it. How fun. Oh, great. Fun. Congratulations. Yeah, you know what? That's really funny. Sometimes when I do something, I'm like, I kind of accept that people are either going to be like, I love it, you were great, or they're going to be like, she's horrible. I mean, I have some people who go, I love your voice, it's amazing, and other people are like, what is going on with her voice?
I've always liked your voice, and not just because you're here. Huh? I like
it. Thank you. Well, here's the thing. It will really break your heart if no one even brings up your character at all. So your goal is, I think, in a film, is it really sucks if you read a review and like they don't even mention you. And, I mean, it depends on the film and how big your part is. Right. But sometimes it's great if they go, oh, this character really drove me crazy. Because I'm like, well, all press, good or bad, is still press. So, if someone feels that strongly that they hated your backwoods Bob, there's somebody else who feels you're the director. What a smart thing for him to say to you. Yeah,
it was a really fun experience. Like I said, my first feature film. So we rented a cabin in LA or wherever it is. I'm not sure. It's outside LA. I don't know. And for like a week, and so it was bonded with everybody. It was a fun experience just that way. But I really had like one scene in the script, and like no one knew how I was going to play it or anything, and so like the girls were like, the other actresses, because it was me and just actresses in this scene, and they're like, do you want to read lines with us? And I've never read lines before. I was like, okay, and so I started doing the voice and the mannerisms that I was play back, and everyone just stopped and started laughing, and slowly they kept giving me more stuff to do in the movie, and after a while the director's like, just film Neil making up weird stuff and film it, and we'll stick it in the movie somewhere. So most of my stuff I just made up, but it was a very fun experience.
Oh, great! So does this mean you're going to continue?
Yeah, I made my second feature in February, and I hope to do more stuff. So we'll see. I have offers to do some small parts here and there, and I don't know. We'll find out.
That's so rad. You know what? You're going to need you're going to need your own interviews. How funny will that be?
Yeah, it's really, I've been asked to be, I don't want to make this about myself, but I was asked to be part of documentary B-Movie Doc 3, and it's got like Joe Estevez and Debbie Rochon and me, and I was like, are you sure you asked the right person? Maybe you've met another Neil Jones who's in like Dirty Dancing or something. Like, no, we want to ask you. We want you on. I was like, okay, I'm down for it.
Oh, I love that, and I love both of them. They're amazing. Debbie's amazing.
Yeah, she's awesome.
That's great.
I've never met Joe, but yeah, Debbie's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, how fun! Congratulations.
Thank you.
No, brag away. Brag away. Yeah. I love it. That's great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I mean, it's kind of fun because I'm sure for years you're talking to actors, and then, to get on the other side of that, I think it probably makes you a better interviewer because you actually know what's going on.
Yeah, actually, I think because just the last few interviews I've done, it does give me a totally different perspective, and I also think it gives me a different perspective when I watch a movie because I know how hard it is to make a movie. I mean, I kind of knew it would be hard, but it's a lot different when you're actually there, making the movie, how much goes into it. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the things that sometimes I kind of like most of the films I've done because I have an appreciation for like what was going on the set, or we lost that location, or the sun was going down and we had to do this, and I'm always like pretty impressed with the editors, what they make of that, and there's a certain excitement to understanding that, like, some of the best films also, you'll look back and go, wow, the crew is really amazing. I always really love my crew because they're putting in the work behind the scenes, and they don't always get the most credit for it.
Yeah,
I was glad the actors get told how wonderful they are. That's
right. Yeah, I was glad the second movie wasn't my first movie. Not because I actually think it's gonna be very good, but it's a much more grueling experience, a much more draining experience. The first movie everyone was prepared, knew other lines, and everyone just got along, and people, cooked in the house, and it was just a really fun experience. The second movie, I do think it's going to be very good, but it's was just a lot harder because we only had 3 days to shoot while in an actual festival because we used a convention because we used Eben McGarr's Mad Monster as the backdrop for the movie, and you had to shoot around all these people, and it was just a very hectic thing. If that would have been my first experience, I might have been like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But since that was my second one, I knew the first one was a lot of fun, and this one was fulfilling, but it was a lot harder work. Plus, I was a producer on that one, so I was up till 4 a.m. and up at 9, and it was very hectic.
Well, that makes a difference. It's also like it's fun if you're in a cabin because it becomes like that's your film family. And
that's very true.
Sometimes when you're having to go back home and do other things and then go back to set, especially if you're producing. But I mean, yeah, it's the difference of like when you do a film and it's all exteriors and it's freezing cold out. Like when we did Clown Fear, it was freezing. It was a lot of exteriors in really cold, and that just makes a different. And it was overnight shoots, so you're just like, wow, that was really a crazy experience. Like that was a crazy experience. It's like. I think it was muddy and rainy and wet and like 30 degrees. Maybe it was 40 degrees, but it was with like lots of wind, and you're like, what am I doing with my life? It's 2 a.m. and I'm out in a field that's a makeshift, a cemetery, and I'm in like this wedding dress that's thin and all wet, and I'm like, what? And I'm screaming and crying on the ground. I'm like, maybe I should be doing something else. I don't know. It takes a while to recover. I have like. And here's the funny thing, I don't know if you experience this, but whenever you do a horror film, like good guy, bad guy, typically I have so many bruises and scrapes and scratches because you're just like you're lying in dirt or something, like running away from someone. And when you go home, you're like, oh my God, I'm covered in like marks and things.
Yeah, that didn't happen to me because I kind of do that anyway because I walk a lot in the woods here, so I have scars on my hand right now that I don't know where they came from. But on the first movie, the actress broke her rib and like she was very cool about it and stuff, but it was she's a real trooper. I'll say her name, Trissa Robinson. A very, very small girl, but gives it her all, and she broke her rib on the movie. But it's healed up now.
How did she break her rib?
It was when the killer grabs her in like a bear hug, and she just went ouch, and no one thought too much of it. Just like, definitely no one wants to hurt anybody, and everyone was worried, but no one thought that she broke her rib. And we finished the rest of the movie, and I remember she couldn't carry her suitcase out to the car, and I carried it for her. I didn't think much of it, but then when she got back to her home, she went to the doctor and stuff, and found out it was a broken rib.
Oh my God! And she finished the movie. What a champion! Yeah. Well, I mean, it's things like that. I mean, sometimes I'm like, if someone doesn't know how to do, I did something for a Lifetime, and the actor was so lovely. He really was, but he was so excited and he was nervous and he was kind of new, and he's just this very tall, lanky guy, very sweet. But he had these really long nails, and I was supposed to be waking up from a nightmare. And he kept grabbing me and like ripping me. I'm like getting ripped like from under the bed. And every time I was like, you're going to actually really hurt me. Slow down. So, I mean, there is an art to all those things. And sometimes, I'm more conscious because I'm older that I'm like, hey, I'm not 20. Like, slow down. I need to do this at like half speed, which is, but still, you're still going to get banged up a little bit because of you're doing something that's kind of crazy. So.
Yeah, it was. She was so good, I have to say, though, because I told her afterwards, because I'd watch her see. I was like, she's like a really very good actor and like very powerful. And I just told her, I was joking, but I was just like, I'm really sorry that like your performances are in the same movie with this imbecile, meaning myself. But she thought it was funny. She's like, no, you're my favorite character in the movie. And I was like, I don't know about that, but thanks.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. I'm excited.
Well, thank you. I could tell you. I'll tell you more off air. I can't tell you on air.
Sure.
People get mad, but
I'm sure when it comes out, you'll have it all over too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, I know you have another thing coming up, so I'm going to let you go. But it's always great to talk with you.
I know it's great to talk with you too, and I'll keep, as always, stalking you online. And
I appreciate it. I stalk you online too. It was very cool to meet you in person finally.
I know it's always exciting when you meet someone. You're like, oh my God, hi.
Yeah, and I never know if people will know me or not, which I don't know why, because I've talked to you many times. But I always think, this person might not know who I am. Do I want to say hi? And overthink something that's very stupid to overthink. But that's just how. Yeah.
Well, sometimes I'm a space cadet, and I'll be like, did we work together? I'll see someone's face, but I definitely knew you.
Yeah, that was very good.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on again, number 4. I'm going to give Victoria a hard time and say that now she's got to come on again and one ahead.
Yeah. And we'll juggle it back and forth. We'll keep bringing you back.
Great. Thanks so much.
And then you'll be 5, and she'll have to tie, and we'll work. I
know, right? You'll get sick of us.
All right.
Well, stay safe.
Thank you. You as well. And people could. I was going to ask where they could follow you, but SADIE KATZ is a very unique name. You put in SADIE KATZ, and you'll find you.
Yeah.
right? I think so. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, SADIE KATZ. You'll find me all over. Yeah.
All right. Very good. Thank you again. Have a good day.
Okay.
My name is Victoria DeMar, and you're listening to Without Your Head.